Hey guys, Robbie. I got a special guest here to say something.
Greetings, this is Wonder Woman. You are watching Pros versus Noobs.
Actually, Wendy, that's supposed to be Pro teaches noobs. I know you like how to do, you like to do fighting and everything, but not everything's always.
And today, this is Azula from Avatar The Last Airbender. We're going to teach you how pros do things. They do it better than their brother. They're about to celebrate becoming an only child.
Yeah, I hear you say that a lot, Azula.
Yeah, noobs are just twerps and they all need to go to bed. They sure are. I can't stand a noob. You know who's a noob? Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I can't stand that guy. But he is my best friend, so whatever.
Oh, way to go, Mandy. So, yeah. What they said. Welcome to Pro Teaches Noobs. Hey guys, welcome to another lesson of Pro Teaches Noobs. Today I have with me Pika.
Yo.
And today we are going over Guy Gardner Collateral Damage, a 2-issue mini, prestige format mini, done by written and drawn by Howard Chaykin. Now the interesting thing about the behind the scenes of this book was the DO wanted to have Chaykin do something with Guy after he saw, look back at the old covers that Chaykin had done, which was this one, right after, during Crisis, when Guy got the ring back and everything. He felt this redefined Guy right in this one cover alone. Now, Chaykin didn't do the interiors nor the writing, but he felt this cover is what redefined Guy, and I can see why.
Oh.
I mean, that cover really does define Guy, does it? Like, and don't you forget it. That, that type of smile and all that. Now, is that a good enough reason to give him, do working on something like this? No, but still. This is when Chaykin was trying to do a bit more DC work at the time.
Yeah, that's a good pre-draw or recreation.
It is. And, to set during the Rann-Thanagar War. But at the same time, it doesn't make much. You'll see why this doesn't make much sense with the continuity. My guess is this was created before any of the other appearances of Guy had happened. All he knew about was the war connection. Right? Yeah. So let's just dive right in.
Oh.
For glory, return to the universe by the re-illuminated power battery of Oa. For the Guardians, the great morale arbiters of the infinite starway. Hey, since the miracle of their rebirth, the Guardians have once again brought their justice to the universe. The serene justice of the Green Lantern Corps. The Guardians men at work. Okay. This is not bad for Chaykin, but Chaykin could be even worse. And we'll see that. Like this.
Okay. Yeah, Guardians are a kind of a Kilowog is a different story.
For greatness in the hands of Kilowog, former Green Lantern of Sector 674. Kilowog has had his own arduous spiritual journey. From profound loss to tragic death to triumphant return, to acceptance and joy as a mentor to Green Lanterns in training. For grandeur in the person of probationary Green Lantern Corps Cadet Ganda, Sector 430. Ganda is human, a native of the war-ravaged desert world known as Rann. Wait a second. And torn between her love of planet and commitment to the Corps. For gratitude, a profound debt owed to the reborn Green Lantern of Sector 2814. Hal Jordan is another human who's been through hell and back, an earthborn being with his own history of loss, spiritual discovery, and rebirth, and with his own deeply held sense of gratitude. And then there's Guy Gardner, the man who would be Green Lantern Sector 2814, or should be, if you ask him. Guy is smug, arrogant, sexist, specious, and just plain obnoxious. Green Lantern more disliked than revered, more feared than respected. When Abenstor, previous courseman for 2814, crash landed on Earth years ago, it was a matter of inches that made Hal Jordan the ring wielder, leaving Guy out in the cold, and turning a self-centered, arrogant ass into a deeply embittered, self-centered, arrogant ass. It's this attitude problem that marks Guy the perfect courseman for the dirty jobs his fellow Green Lanterns might be uncomfortable addressing. But it certainly hasn't made him any friends. And while the planet-bound innocents of Earth recklessly wrestle with their own self-destructive instincts, half a universe away, Thanagar and Rann are locked in a martial dance of annihilation. A war that began with a tragedy, misunderstanding, and greed. And like every war, this war has shattered the lives of those with no real stake in the outcome. As the conflict rages across interstellar space, devastating combatants and non-combatants alike, leaving spattered blood, torn flesh, and ruined lives, and devouring entire worlds in almost offhand waves of catastrophic mass destruction. The Thanagarans fight for gods and people. The innocents claim neutrality. The Rannians fight for world and freedom. The neutrals die tasting their own blood. For the moment, the people of Earth have only their own self-loathing to contend with. But everything changes. They all drink. Every one of them. I find that hard to believe. I mean, I don't see any superheroes. Okay, you're losing her. Warriors is an institution. Maybe not all of them. I mean, for God's sakes, can you imagine Batman after a couple of pops? This is not an effective way to achieve your goals. Not like the guy couldn't use something to take the edge off. Am I right or am I right? A bar that caters to superheroes and their admirers. Or maybe he's like Hitler. Know what I'm saying? Hitler? Yeah, Hitler. I don't. I have to agree. When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. Huh? Just think it out loud. Guy's own warrior for years. You know why Hitler didn't drink, don't you? No, because he was a mean drunk. You're saying Batman hit on Batman's like Hitler? No. What then? It doesn't matter. It matters to me. I love Batman. Slut for big black capes. Whatever. Explaining a joke's a waste of time and energy. Like the time and energy I wasted trying to get into your pants. He hasn't changed a bit. You haven't changed a bit, Guy. Nort, or do you prefer JoJo the dog-faced boy? Diet pain, Gardner. I'm still the same charm school dropout I've always been. But that doesn't sound like the old Nort I knew and tolerated. That's the sort of thing that happens when you see your homeworld's atmosphere set afire in a war your people aren't fighting. Tough break to the interplanetary war going on out there. And your point is? So, okay, let's pause a second here. What do you think about this? I'll say the writing is not that bad.
Yeah, that's kind of what's that problem? Throws it kind of off when you kind of look too deep into it.
Well, yeah, but overall, it's not the worst writing in the world.
Mm.
I mean, except for this Batman's Hitler thing, which I'll be honest, that's so Guy. But the artwork is divisive. It's not the worst we've seen, because I get where he's going for.
It's kind of hit and miss at the same time. Like, there is quality to it, but then it depends on the situation and what characters are there used.
Yeah, like Nort, I'm torn on. You know what I mean? But like Guy here, Guy looks great.
Joo.
Even Hal doesn't look that bad.
Mm.
But this girl here and Kilowog is just creepy.
Joo.
But it's again, it's like the guy is a pro for a reason.
Mm.
But then you have stuff like that. Slut for big black capes. What?
Joo, that's kind of what?
But anyway, like, let me go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, while you sit here on your ass sniffing around for another notch, back in the day, you talked to me like that, I'd have beat the snot out of your worthless ass. The sensitivity training's working. So what do you want? Besides wasting both our times laying a guilt trip on me. The Rann-Thanagar War has done as much damage to the so-called neutral planets as it has to themselves and their allies. And Newt has become a battlefield. Newt has become a battlefield. Her green hills reduce to smoldering ashes. A dogface. Nobody's more fond of the human kindness than me. But life is rough all over. So why should I give a damn? Till now, the war has been fought far from this mudball planet of yours. But who's to say how long that'll last? Parties on both sides have made contact with me through corpse back channels. Parties seeking a break in the impasses and beginning peace talks. And these people are power brokers, private citizens. What's that got to do with me? They'll need a neutral arbiter. And since Earth has no knowledge of the conflict, a Terran would be perfect. An Earthling just like you. Unfortunately, Guy Gardner's self-serving nature is at constant odds with his insatiable curiosity. Who knows if these flaws were as powerful before his body was subsumed by the Voldarians, before his DNA was mixed with theirs, to be transformed into a half-Terran, half-Voldarian creature known as Warrior. He doesn't have that anymore, though!
Mm-hmm.
And Torbox, time to show these Voldarian losers how to die. Okay, now I will say this. Time to sit with the Voldarians and Nort is not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're representing two different sides to Guy's past. The Green Lantern Corps, and especially the Bwahaha era, and the Voldarian nature.
Yeah.
Time to show these Voldarian losers how to die. Not by dying ourselves, that would be just wrong, but by making them pay for their lives, for the pollution of their very existence. Tormoks are shapeshifters. Their armor and weapons organic extensions of their flesh. Kill them all, but spare the ship. This is Voldarian space. And you Torbox pay dearly for every light year you've conquered. And while the age-old racial struggle between the Tormoks and Voldarian rages endlessly, Guy Gardner, this is Major Mazel Dar. Major Dar believes that Thanagarian powers have come under the sway of religious fanatics. Well, duh, and must be brought to their senses. It isn't quite that simple. Nothing ever is. Mazel, honey. Everything I've heard about you is true. You're a boorish creep with nothing to recommend and not rent you, other than a perverse courage bordering on reckless stupidity. So I guess that doesn't count as a cute meat, huh? And bother of souls. You're even more repulsive than I imagined. My people are involving in a devastating war, and you make jokes at my expense. Involved, huh? And Thanagaria for oops, we started it? We've gone long past the point of responsibility for first shots fired, Gardner. Tell that to the Ranians who saved your airborne asses. Guy, and get the shaft when you turn on them. I don't represent the ruling powers or the religious fanatics who called for this holy war. Believe it or not, it took an awful long time for you to figure out just how whack those powers were. Each day, each battle brings us that much closer to fulfilling our destiny as Tormog's B'ni. The complete and total annihilation of Voldarians. I spit blood and ichor at the menace of their mention of their unholy name. Of course you do. But not in my past. We live to serve the greater glory of Ramisha B'ni. The war between these two denigrated races is a divine gift to us, a joyous opportunity to bring the promise of eternal living and of eternal fame to the living universe. But which side are we on? Thanagar or Rann? Which side? We fought against Thanagar for Rann. We've carried the Fox battle flag into combat versus the desert world's banner, occasionally on the same day in the same battle. But only one side matters. Which? Ours, you moron. We're here to wreak havoc and havoc we wreck. Whether face to face in purifying mortal combat, and from ship to ship, or with the corpses of our enemies left behind as toxic reminders of our holy work. Speaking of dead enemies, the hunt for the warrior goes on, Lord Terex. So basically, these people are taking advantage of being allies to push about their own agenda.
Huh.
I mean, that makes sense. That happens in war sometime.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same thing as... It's not important that we win. It's important that those other guys lose.
Exactly. Hey, sweetheart, what's with the lantern and brass art? I'm a corpse cadet. In that case, what the hell are you doing out of uniform here and out of uniform, for God's sake? Cadet Kwanda is having emotional problems maintaining her core commission. Cadet Kwanda is on emergency leave. Right. In the current crisis, I felt it more important to think locally than to act interplanetarily, and I'm considering resigning my commission, at least until Oa officially weighs in on the right side of the conflict. You, Ronnie, and Nellies make me puke in general. Okay, now, this was before Green Lantern Corps was probably in the work, or Chaykin wasn't aware of it. Given how we get to, Ronnie and Thangarian later.
Yo.
And GL deserters make my deserters make my skin crawl. Guy, how dare you invite these airborne barbarians over for breakfast? Then you're shocked. Shocked when they stick around for lunch, dinner, rape, and pillage. What'd you expect? We expected to have a helping hand respected with gratitude. And that's what's wrong with you and every other liberal. You can't even defend your own position. I'm not here to defend anything. I'm here to ask you to arborate and back channel peace talks. No problem. Peace talks to take place at this disgusting bar of yours. What were you thinking? You come to me. I asked you to serve as a neutral facilitator, but you never mentioned using my joint. Where else would we go? Warriors is sacred ground to me. Sacred? Damn right. We're talking about the finest meat rack like the world's ever seen. And if you think I risk that for a dying race that's long outlived its universal usefulness, or for a pack of death-wishing winged butt wipes with a god complex, you really haven't changed at all. You're still a disgrace to the Corps. Like, what do you know about disgrace? Or the Corps? You're just a camp follower and Lantern wannabe. And you're an unnecessary evil. A dirty cop they call in when only a monster will do. And speaking of monsters, while Guy and I argue for a couple of ancient bitches, the Tormogs have found yet another outpost of dying Voldarian. Voldarian, you've been a scourge for too damn long. At least die like the heroes you claim to be. Lord and Terfax, we have a Voldarian captive. the warrior and Vardarian scum. Tell us his home his home world. My only regret is that I didn't take more of you with me. You'll get nothing from Lord Terex. My hand, me. Pity she had such a vile disposition. She might have been delicious to eat alive. No use crying over spilt blood. Force feed her corpse to any other prisoners and feed on them. What a surprise! Not to say I'm pleasantly not to say a pleasant surprise, of course, but a surprise nonetheless. Where's your Nutian friend? That wet rug smell gets old, and I wanted to see you one-on-one. As always, I question your motive. Boy, Guy's ring having a personality I kind of like. It kind of suits him, don't you think?
That kind of depends on the situation. And,
like the Guardians would want to try and have something that would try and rein him in. Like, why in the name of the seven hells would you want such a thing? I figured maybe we might be able to reach some kind of understanding and maybe find a way to put you and the Rannian babe together, if you catch my drift. Again, your motives are questionable. I think I do. This is a big change of heart from our last meeting, Gardner. What's behind this adjustment? I'm committed to the peace process. And to seeing you and Quanda together. What makes you think your idea of getting us together involves the three of us naked? Apparently, I'm not alone in questioning your motives. Okay. This is not the worst flanderization of Guy, but it's getting there.
All these phases are kind of... I try to recreate them myself.
Right. I sometimes question, how did Chaikin become such a well-regarded artist?
Well, I suppose on a quick glance, this has some quality to it. But then when you get more of it as much, it probably... What's the term? It gets...
I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. Let me double check one of his earlier works, like his Blackhawks. You know he worked on the Blackhawks at one point, right?
Okay.
Well, not bad on the cover, but then again, we saw a good cover earlier.
Maybe it's about when you do one or a few things, there's a quality and how much you put into them. And when you have to do the same thing multiple times, eventually you put less and less work into it.
I think I realized the reason. It's similar to Frank Miller. Him inking himself is the issue.
Yeah, it's kind of what I've had. You know how I put that one poll yesterday about my doing my avatar. I have been trying to do also some kind of recreation or recolorings to acknowledge that I have a different hat than what my avatar has, and sleeves that have been pulled up.
Yeah, I mean, look here. Would you agree with that? What I just said? Right here, the artwork looks fine. It looks good here.
Yeah.
And yet, it doesn't look that different from what we're seeing. I'll say this. His layouts are good. Would you agree? Even with this, his layouts are fine.
Yes, they look good.
And again, there's some of the details look fine like when you compare it to his old work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, inking is another thing that
makes it hit and miss.
Yeah, it's also on my case that if you draw the pencil work, when you do the pencils and you do different versions of instances, that's kind of relaxing. That's fun. It's something good to do. But then when you need to reinforce what you have done and make it so, and you make even tiniest mistake and it's ruined.
Exactly. Again, like what's with the lips? It looks like the lips are painted on.
Yeah.
For the women. I mean, look at that. And while Guy and Maisel perform this peculiar dance, a dance I'll never understand, the war rages on. As in all wars, the true victors are always the innocent bystanders. We're looking for a few good men who aren't afraid of taking what they want, and aren't afraid of taking advantage of what they want. No, damn right, no. That bitch is mine. Oh, come on.
Okay, something actually when you try to think about it, the whole it's also the tone that the coloring or that the art style also has. It's like it's not exactly like a serious live action repurposing and then kind of mix of that and cartoonish style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
the tone is kind of hard to discern what kind of story this is.
And Ringo Chaikin is heavily political, and it shows. And now she's only fit for food, unless you leeches still like cold and dead under you. A tarmac, Ramisha be praised. And don't you forget it, leechin. You worms exist solely to serve our whims. How can I be of service, unholy messenger of death? I want the warrior's head on my shield. That can be arranged, Lord of Darkness. We know his home world. I am uncomfortable with this. I don't need to tell you I've been warned about you and your unsavory reputation. Unsavory? I'll show you unsavory. The Lanterns have always been wusses when it comes to interpersonal relationships and relations. And speaking of the Corps, where's your detached service badge? I've officially resigned my commission. She's been relieved of her corpse commission. No kidding. I have anything to do with your decision? You? I figured maybe war gets you hardy too, and we both know how the Smurfs from frown on fraternization in the Corps. Okay. Chaikin is really... Again, Guy can be a horn dog, but not this. Like, I mean, look at how we saw him in Green Lantern Corps. He was never this bad.
Yeah, this is kind of not exactly.
Unless, again, there's a method to his madness. To be fair, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, like if he's playing himself,
like
playing a performance of how people see. He wants people to see him, and then when they start to count on that person making some mistakes that would benefit them, and then he starts to get his act together and becomes a serious space cop again.
Yep, I'm pretty sure I understand what horny means. It means, and you astonish me, Gardner. That's always been a big aim in my life. To leave women astonished, amazed, and satisfied. I left the Corps permanently because the future of my people is at stake, not because of your lecherous behavior. Although now that you mention it, if you want to believe you had anything to do with my resignation, be my guest. So does that mean you don't want to use my joint for this meeting? Or are we finally going to start behaving like adults? I didn't expect you to be in uniform. Then why wear yours? Ladies, shut up! At last, something we could all agree on. Easy, big fella, and a little respect for your host. Just step back and serve as ombudsman, Gardner. And quite right. Let's begin. Both our people are dying. Every moment we waste a personal empathy. What made you change your mind about holding the meeting here? I never had any problem. I just want to see how hard you work for it. Are you so bored you have to create conflict? That's not the point. We may be of a different species, but what really separates us? You roll over and play dead like anyone who behaves like your master? Ridiculous! I roll over for nobody, Pally. Nobody! Warrior, we've come for your head! Huh? Tormox, and little late for bringing me up to speed, huh? these guys are the worst scum ever. And if they're here, it means the Voldarian line of defense is in the toilet. And Tormox, I thought they were long dead. Wishful thinking, honey. But since we're all here, let's see if we can make that wish come true. This war has turned our search for you into a royal pain, warrior, but it's given us an opportunity to cleanse the stairway of so many unclean races, for which we sit and thank you in the name of Ramisha. I knew the Guardians were wrong when they ordered me not to track you all down and kill you like dogs. No offense, Nord. This was supposed to be a safe, neutral place, a world outside the war. How about you both shut the hell up and put that permanent menstrual syndrome of yours to good use by killing as many of these bastards as you can, like this. And watching Guy wield his ring while punching out a Tormach made me realize perhaps that's why I was never a truly effective Green Lantern. I could never effectively exert my will on my ring and do something else equally complex at the same time. My day will come, warrior. Don't leave now, butt wipe. You're just in time for a happy hour. Why are we just standing here? The Thanagarian is right. We could fight them. Forget about it. Tarmac are shapeshifted. They could be a crosstown bus, a croissant, or a crossdresser by now. And we've got a pile of dead aliens in there that I don't want to have to explain to the NYPD. And the cops will be here any minute now. They just turned to dust. No need for a burial detail. So it's true. Yeah, Tomar souls really are spoiled. And so much for interplanetary peace, love, and understanding. Again, this plot is not the worst.
Kind of weird how it also... They took this long to go over just the first half. Not sure if it was kind of bloated or if it was...
I think you just assigned the page count and that was it. And this is a case where he was just tacked on because he drew a good cover. I mean, and he's had good work with everything else. American Flag, the Blackhawks mini.
And
what's
Visual Madsen?
I believe. Colorist? Yeah, I believe. Yep, colorist.
Okay.
So yeah, Howard is done. He's a writer, penciler, and inker. Now not to belabor the obvious, but I am seriously pissed. Were those people Tormox and their love slave, Legions and Crags? I thought that Tormox had been wiped out by the Voldarian, and now we know why you washed out the Green Lantern Corps. Your grasp of how the universe works is pretty damn naive, since it's the Tormox who have been doing everything they can to eliminate the Voldarian. I do give him props to tapping into some of the lore. Until the Lantern Corps came along, the Voldarian stood alone against the flesh-eating bastards. Well, that certainly could have gone better. Don't blame yourself. The war is terribly frustrating, and getting our just portions of the blood and iron has been awfully difficult. Isn't it always that way? We're the most bloodthirsty, brutal, and vicious race the galaxy has ever spawned. And it's up to the bird people and the few living on the dying planet to create a truly universal holocaust. And now we fail to torture, maim, and kill the warrior. It's all too depressing and despairing. Yes, but considering this toxic miasma we've left behind us everywhere we've been, you're right, Benai, but I'm still disappointed. You're just sad you didn't get to carry the warrior's head into a battle on your pike. But if you behave and promise to behave, we can role play a bit before we return to the hunt of the last of the Voldarian scum. Oh, so she shapeshifted, and the guy. Why are you so good to me?
Why is his head there? Or his face.
Okay, but yeah, she shapeshifted.
Oh.
So let me get me straight, Mr. Gardner. And Mr. Gardner, that's Gardner. Whatever. You came back here to check on an unidentified disturbance, and this is the way you found in the joint? That's right, officer. Detective. Whatever. So what? You some kind of superhero groupie wannabe or some such? Dig it. There's nothing wannabe about me, pal. So you're a superhero, huh? That's right. So where's your sidekick? And your action figure? Tell me something. Guy has his place of business burned out from under him. You always such a butt wipe? Not really, but I figured you being a superhero and all, like you say, maybe this is just another super lovers quarrel between you and your super nemesis. Lovers quarrel? Yeah, I figured all those tights and gates and stuff gotta be telling us something about which team you all play on, right? Hey! Thanks for your support. An irony may not be the best approach to the Guardians. We make it abundantly clear to you, Guy Gardner. Green Lantern Corps involvement in the conflict between Rann-Thanagar was to be kept to a minimum. Yeah, clear as a bell. But I guess the Tormoks missed the memo. There was no memo. See, we made our feelings in regard to the Rann-Thanagar conflict very clear. So obviously this is before Kilowatt got involved. Okay, so that setting can make a little more sense. This is before Green Lantern Corps recharge. So that does make a little more sense. Because there was a piece of that war going on before Kilowatt got involved.
And before Infinite Crisis was kicked off properly.
Exactly. But like I said, the Tormoks took advantage of the situation to come after me, to get back at me for being an honorary Voldarian way back when you guys decided I wasn't good enough for the Corps. This is a typical perversion of reality and the truth, Guy Gardner. Well, you know me. When it's perversion you want, I'm your man. And it is only through growing familiarity with your species that I have to come to understand this attitude of yours as something to do with irony, sarcasm, and humor. Nice going, Pally. But to coin a phrase from your race's lexicon, don't push your luck. Fancy meeting you here, but could you have picked a sleazier joint on a sleazier planet? I mean, this mudball doesn't even have a name. And any place else, we might be identified. And with the current with the current situation, the last thing we want is to let anyone know what we're up to. What we're up to, yes. Hey, Rodian, hold up there. Well, just so we're on the same page. I'm here because nobody trashes my joint and get away with it. The peace process, forget about it. You and Bird Girl could do whatever you want. I'm out of the Umbudi and Bitman business. I never thought I'd live to see such a thing. You of all people, intimidated by the Guardians. Me? Intimidated by the Guardians? I couldn't give two squirts about the little blue choir boys. Once the Tormok frag has kicked down my wall, this got personal. The Ronians are natural worshippers with deeply held personal feelings about faith. The Thanagarians worship An-Marsin. And that's the other reason An-Marsin would show up during the mini. On the Eater of Worlds, a darkly punishing deity. The Tormoks worship Ramisha, a death-based fanaticism committed to slaughtering anything standing in its way. But even these madmen never imagined that the residue of their weapons would bring to life the very tissue of space itself, giving life to this vacuum. And a vacuum infected with an enraged, homicidally insane awareness. For several million light years, in every direction, space is alive, unwell, and very, very pissed off. Nice place you got here. Have we not been through this discussion of irony before? You must have had a terrible time as a boy to make you into such a horrible man. So how come you speak perfect American instead of Yoda and ease? Not that it matters, but compared to the true language of Thanagar, most Terran languages are embarrassingly simple. And that's the difference between you and me. Nothing embarrasses me. And are we quite through with the banter phase? If you want to be, so we can get to exactly what you want from me. That's what I like about you birds. No nonsense, except for all the death worship crapola, of course. I'll grant you one thing, Guy. You're certainly relentlessly insulting, only occasionally intentionally. So here's the deal. We both know the peace process is a floater on the toilet bowl of life. A lovely image. Hey, I've always been a poet. Anyway, I'm going to find the Tormach bastards who wrecked my joint and kick their asses into the next universe over. You in? My first thought is that this is too personal a fight and such a terrible time for my people. But on second thought, let me think about it. We're all that's left. We have no option but survival or extinction. Sounds like no option at all to me, but I'm just a born optimist. That's what I love about you, Terrific X. You always see the bright side. You're too kind. Now let's slaughter these Voldarian scum. So in other words, these are the last handful of the Tomahawks.
Uh-huh.
Again, some stuff here does make some sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The Tormachs and Voldarians are enemies to the core. Tales are told among the more ancient and veterans of the Green Lantern Corps of life in the time before the guardians of the universe created the corpse to keep the peace. In those long ago, lawless days, all that stood against the Tormachs and universal annihilation was the Voldarians. And now, thanks to the Rann-Thanagar War, the Tormachs are on the verge of wiping out the last of the Voldarians. And you got something to say to me? Maybe. Wouldn't you become such a damn tease, Nort? Says a side effect of you getting all intense all of a sudden. And that was another thing. That was one thing that he wanted to do, was to make Nort more badass, less of a joke. I'll give him props. He tried.
Certainly tried.
Yeah, he definitely tried, but I have no idea what you're talking about, but I do know where Terrifex might be. Okay, Dog Breath, am I supposed to know who or what Terrifex is? Terrifex is the commander of the Tormach's cadre that attacked us. Why didn't you say so in the first place? It's not my way to be so direct. Yeah, right. So where? Sector 245. Sector 245? And 245, a sector unprotected by the core. In combat with the Voldarian hive. How old is this news? Hours. So they could be halfway across the galaxy by now. You're useless. I think we owe a huge debt of gratitude to Thanagar and Rann for giving us this opportunity to finally bring closure to our lifelong and terrible complex relationship. We are alone, Voldarian. All that stands between survival of our race and genocidal annihilation. So forget glory. Never forget glory. It's what marks our war. Death and bloodlust, all the more satisfying. Forget sacrifice. And never forget sacrifice. Just remember, see that it's your enemy who does the sacrificing. Any clue what that red crap is? Instruments indicate it's a form of subatomic life. It is indeed a life form, neuroviral in nature. Gotta be one tough mofo to hold its own out here. That's for all of us, and that's true for all of us. Without question, I could be executed without trial for simply being aboard this vessel. There's something approaching rapidly, and on a collision course for us. Title drop. Ring. Identify. Voldarian Star Cruiser, Samax class, Thanagarian Destroyer, decommissioned, Tormach marking, Tormach. It's the bastards who wrecked warriors, the monsters who destroyed my planet. Put us about even, Candace Minor. And so what? And you say we kick some Tormach ass? Or do you just want to whine about your damn jerkwater planet? Guy was angry. I was enraged. To equate the loss of his bar with the near destruction of entire civilization, this was enough to drive me mad. Ring situation. Tormach's the same. And yes, the Tormoks who had destroyed your establishment. The boarding canal is almost repaired, darling. A glorious day for all, Benai. And incidentally, the same Tormoks responsible for much of the destruction of Newt. Save it for someone who gives a damn. This is personal. All right, report. All right, I'll give you a report. All right. The warrior you booked before we had a chance to really bond last time. Ramisha's blessing. We meet again. The hell was Ramisha, and the hell was you. That's the what's that old Tormok saying? None shall see a Tormok's true face and live. Well, here's an old Earth saying. Old sayings are a lot of crap. Oh, wait a minute. Why is he allowed to kill this guy? Oh no, he's a shapeshifter. That wouldn't kill him.
Yeah, that's good. But also, did it just quote some old jungle sayings from Phantom?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I found some of the old specials I bought about a decade ago. Oh, yep. This one story has some guy who made himself look like the Phantom and took his place, and then right at the end when he had the Phantom at his mercy, he decided to, okay, I want to see what it looks like, and
yep. Where do we stand? The Tormoks have been defeated, but at a profound loss. Who died? Everyone! They eliminated the Volderian race. Not like you'd give a damn. This isn't true. The Newtian is right. We were too late. For what? Looks to me like we got what we came for. Actually, no, then it does all. They eliminated the Volderian race. Not like you give a damn. And this isn't true. Yeah, the Volderian people are truly gone, but their genetic signature survives intact. You're planning on getting to the story or what? The urn. It contains the DNA of 100 Volderian. So there's enough life soup to clone a whole squad of Volderians in here. Too bad the same isn't true for a Newt. Tough break. You insensitive. Ah! 7 hells. Lost lands of my mother. What the? The neuroviral toxin is grafted onto the very tissue of space itself, creating what can only be called an antimatter antibody, which attacks the sentient nervous system, creating physical, emotional, and mental havoc. The Newtian lacks the willpower to withstand the neurocentric toxic assault. The Thanagarian lacks the willpower to withstand the neurocentric assault. The Rannian lacks the willpower to it. The Terran lacks the willpower. Like hell I do. To all green glowing son of a bitch. And this is why you're so roundly despised, Guy. Your will is nothing more than a tool for your ego. And it's only that ego that made his escape possible. And what? I'm supposed to feel bad because the only thing that could save our sorry ass was my ego? I don't think. Obviously not. And what is that supposed to mean? It means this entire effort has been a waste of time and energy, mostly due to Guy's arrogant brutality. Really? It seems to me that arrogance saved our life. The direct result of his egomaniacal, self-serving attacks on the Tormoks, who attacked him and us. Did you Ronnians have to face extinction to be so self-righteous? Or is it in your genetic makeup? Like cowardice. I won't dignify this by responding. Ronnie and coward, there's a lot to be said for 2 women fighting over you. I just wish one of them had stuck around. I beg your pardon. Sorry, just thinking out loud. Perhaps if you saw it at all, this disaster wouldn't have befallen you. Whatever you say, your blueness, but tell me something. Am I getting reamed out here for anything important here? Or is this just one of those, oh, that Guy Gardner is a rascal moments? We've ordered you to avoid involvement in the conflict between Rann-Thanagar. In your typical insubordinate fashion, you ignore those direct orders. And in doing, ending the promising career of a corpse cadet, damning the reputation of this North of Newt, sir, and eliminate the potential peace mission between the 2 planets. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Here is the perfect opportunity to practice humility. Yeah, right. My ring recommends I throw myself on the mercy of the court, and we all know that's not going to happen. So tell you what, How about you take this ring and shove it up your blue keister? He doesn't mean that. Damn right I do. No, he doesn't. Yes, it's true. Guy Gardner's an unforgivable egomaniac, a man who equates the destruction of his place of business with the death of a civilization. And yet, he is single-handedly responsible for the survival of the Voldarian race, a people with whom he's had no love after genetic invasion of his body. Damn, Skippy. Shut up, Guy. We are aware of this, of course, and these are the only mitigating circumstances in our decision to allow you to continue to protect and serve, and to wear the ring of the Green Lantern Corps. Thanks! Of that, I am terribly uncertain. And really now, don't you think we've been around long enough to recognize any obscene gestures you can imagine? You won't regret it. Oh yeah, then you won't regret it. Boy, the speech bubble orders are a little off. I guess I owe an apology, guys, for behaving like a complete, an apology for behaving like a complete dick, huh? Under any other circumstance, I'd say yes, you do. But you saved my life back there, and that begins to make up for all the humiliation and abuse. That's mighty sweet of you. I did say begins, Guy. You remain the most offensive and appalling member of your race I've ever had the misfortune to know. In that case, what was all that heartfelt defense he threw my way back there with the Smurfs? When you go to your earthly version of hell, I would hope it's for the right reasons and justly deserved. Now it's time for me to return to my ravaged homeworld and do what I can to bring my people back from disaster. Yeah, well, good luck with that. And hey, dog boy, better you than me. You didn't really say that, did you? Absolutely. Felt that self-sacrifice is the hallmark of the superhero. But telling him you wish it was your world and than a smoking ruin, not his, sounds more like you'd be sacrificing us. Well, you know, it's just a figure of speech. Here's this poor dog-faced bastard. Entire planet of fellow dog-faced bastards up in smoke. I had to say something to take the edge off. Why didn't you go with him and help out? What? Instead of all over the poor guy's already ass-kicked self-esteem? That just wouldn't be fair of him or me, now would it? Don't waste your time with this man, young woman. He can be terribly hazardous to your well-being. You excuse me? I just remembered a prior engagement. I've got a date with an angel.
Huh.
This was a mess.
Yeah, it's kind of I tried to follow through it, and but then at some point it feels like, yeah, I'm zoning off. Okay, pay attention, zoning off, pay attention.
I don't blame you. Even when I'm reading it, I was doing the same thing. It's like, this is not the worst we've seen Guy handle. We can agree to that. But it's borderline close. It's like, he's taken gifts that there's good to Guy, but he doesn't show the complexity of the character. It's like he's showing us his worst traits, and yet also showing us his best traits, but not reminding us why there's the contradiction. Is that the best way of putting it? He doesn't show us the contradiction.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Yeah, but overall, what did you think of this?
Well, it exists.
It exists. This definitely falls
Not
under
in a vacuum, connected to some ongoing events at the time, but it doesn't exactly feel like it
deserves to exist.
Out. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it stands out in the next to the others that it's supposed to coexist with.
This definitely feels like let's give this artist work kind of project, doesn't it?
Yeah, give him work with someone who can write.
But he's the one who's doing all the writing himself here.
But someone who to go right and probably do the fact check and say, okay, this works, this doesn't work, this works, this doesn't work. Let's see more about this part and this part.
Yeah, but again, it is not the worst we've seen Guy handle, but it's again, it's showing us all of his negative traits, implying his positive traits, but not reconciling the two.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it got like showing us what's really going through his mind or anything.
Hmm.
And the artwork, the layouts were fine. The layouts were fine.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure if I zoned out at the point, but did we actually get Guy's inner monologue, or was it just ignored?
No, we never got anything. Just Nort.
Ugh.
So we don't go what's going through his mind or anything.
Oh.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Quandra was a waste. Of all the characters here, she was a waste.
Yeah.
I mean, now her quitting makes sense given what happens next.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, someone else will get the ring, and then they'll die, and then it'll lead into recharge.
Oh yeah, with the. I remember the characters, the names, or the other.
I just blanked myself. And knowing that, here's the other thing: this neurotoxin sentient chunk of the universe doesn't get resolved. They just get out of it.
Oh.
And the Vulgarians being in his urn, where does urn come from?
Comes, goes, comes, goes, comes, goes.
And wait, Ezra's right. He did kill them all since they disappeared like that.
And this was even.
Now, granted, the whole Green Lanterns don't kill. Is it a case where they don't use their ring to kill, or? Because obviously he's not using his ring to do it here.
Or could it be that he kills without the ring and then probably doesn't perceive it as killing, but it's like finishing off something that he doesn't see as a living being, but as something else, like kind of finds a loophole to go around it.
Exactly. Now I will say this: Chaykin's artwork, I've realized he's obviously utilizing what Ethan has established. You know, the whole projecting the badge forward and everything. I give him props there. That he's continuing that standard. You know, the ring is, you know, the symbol is projecting in front of him. That's clearly referencing Ethan.
Oh.
But again, it's like, this thing is divisive. Like, if I was to give, I'd give this a 4.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. That feels fair. Like it's not even average. It's kind of below.
It's below average, but not trash.
Hey.
That's how I would put it. It's below average, but it's not utter. Like, let's burn it. Would you agree? Like, this is not a burn. Like, burn is in a fire type of a trash book. It's more of a what was the point of this kind of book?
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of technical changes, but it's changes to stuff that no one was really going to tap into anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Vuldarians, no one's tapped into them since.
Yeah.
Could it be because
you create a new character or species and no one uses them again, and then they're just pattern screamers.
Well, to be fair, this is tapping into already established stuff. Again, the Vuldarians were the ones that where Guy had that warrior persona for a while.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is tying to left dangling plot threads and everything. And North's been around forever, but we rarely ever saw his people.
Well, yeah, North is one of those guys that has existed.
And again, this attempt to make him more hardcore because of what happened to his planet, it doesn't work. The same with his redesign. It does. But again, his urn comes right the hell out of nowhere.
Oh.
And again, this neotoxin thing, what was the point of here other than to give Guy a way to save them?
Oof.
It's not like they even stop it or anything.
Oh.
Again, there's a lot of things that feel like they needed one more issue or something.
Oh. Run out of time and it just went.
Yeah, but again, overall, it's all right. That's all I can say is it's all right.
Yeah, all right, but
disappointingly all right.
Joo.
Now you do know that Shaken would then go on. If ironically enough, he would go on to draw Hawk Girl. That would be the Hawkman book renamed as Hawk Girl.
Yeah, that was after that. Yeah.
Now, granted, he just did the drawing. Walt Simonson was the writer.
Oh, yeah, it was the Kendra.
Yeah, Kendra. Yeah.
Yeah, Kendra existed all the way until Blackest Night killed her off, and then she was replaced by Shira. Shira or Shira.
Yep, but I say Chaykin. This is a case of DiDio throwing artists a bone, which is one thing I always respected him for. There's one thing I always respected DiDio for, which was throwing artists a bone. Because let's be honest, most people with higher up positions, not even Jim Lee seems to be capable of doing that. Now, I will still say this. DC is still better at respecting their artists, as shown by all the art tributes and everything they've done over the years.
In that sense, yeah, I guess.
Compared to Marvel, who just do copy-paste stuff. I mean, come on, look at all the tributes to Perez, Neil Adams, Ramona Flora, so many of the other artists that have passed on who had great tributes handled, and dedicated to them. Whereas, what did Marvel do? Copy print. But again, like I said, Chaykin, he does, and obviously if a creator needs work, they should get work.
Yeah.
And that is clearly what this reeks of, doesn't it? Let's just give him work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all we've got for here. Thank you for joining me in this one, Pika. Thank you, everyone else. And we'll see you all on the next one. Take care.
Yep, and make your heart your